Have you ever stopped in a quiet moment and asked yourself, why do I let a stranger's words, a coworker's jab, or a small setback steal my calm? We live in a world that's loud, fast, and full of triggers. A rude email, a traffic jam, a careless remark. It's easy to feel angry, bothered, out of control. But what if there's another way to live? A philosophy over 2,000 years old, once practiced on the battlefield, in royal courts, and in the loneliest corners of the human soul. Stoicism is not just theory. It's an art of living, a way to move through chaos without being swept away by it. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. In this video, you'll discover 7 practical principles from Stoic wisdom, so that no one can control your emotions but you. Not to become emotionless, but to become free, from the inside out. And it all begins with one moment. The moment you pause and ask yourself, is this feeling truly worth trading my peace for? The answer awaits you behind each lesson. Lesson 1. Accept instead of resisting. Anger rarely starts with something big. It starts with resistance. A message about work after hours, a delayed meeting, someone behaving without thinking, and in your mind a voice says, it shouldn't be this way. This is wrong. Things need to be different. And from there, the storm begins. But Stoicism doesn't tell you to like everything that happens. It simply teaches you, don't fight what you cannot control. Do not seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish for them to happen as they do. Epictetus. Imagine you're caught in a sudden rainstorm on your way home. You could complain, get angry, feel frustrated, but the rain still falls. Or you could accept it as simply part of the journey. Soaked, but not irritated. Delayed, but not disappointed. When someone is late for a meeting, instead of being annoyed, treat it as a chance to read a page of a book. When something at work breaks down, instead of losing your temper, ask, what can I fix right now? When you're criticized, instead of reacting, reflect, what can I learn from this? I cannot control every situation, but I can always control how I receive it. Don't resist. Observe, accept, and make it part of your discipline. Every time you choose acceptance over resistance, you're choosing freedom, because peace does not come from the outside world, it comes from how you meet it. Lesson 2. Let go of judgment. The less you label, the more you find peace. Have you ever felt frustrated just because someone didn't act as you expected? A colleague who's always late, a friend who replies with a cold message, a waiter who lacks grace, and your mind whispers, they're so rude. Unprofessional. People like that are just... But what's making you upset? It isn't what they did, it's how you judged them. You always own the option of having no opinion. Marcus Aurelius. In today's world, we're too quick to slap labels on people. Careless, lazy, terrible. But if you look closer, that person might be battling illness, drowning in worry, or just having a terrible day. Judgment doesn't make the world better, it just weighs your soul down. When you see a reckless driver, instead of thinking, what an idiot, try, maybe they're rushing for a reason I can't see. When someone replies coldly, instead of jumping to conclusions, try, maybe they're exhausted or going through something heavy. I don't know the full story behind other people, but I can choose not to judge. And in doing so, I protect my peace. Judgment is a weight you carry by choice. Every time you cast judgment, you trade away a piece of your stillness. The Stoic is not shaken by others' behavior, because they understand. The only thing I truly control is how I choose to see the world. Lesson 3. Release control and set your mind free. Have you ever felt angry just because someone didn't do what you expected? A person didn't reply on time? A meeting got canceled at the last minute? A plan ruined by someone else? You feel powerless, not because of what happened, but because you couldn't control it. Stoicism teaches this. You cannot control the world, but you can always control how you respond to it. Make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. Epictetus. When you cling to things you can't control, you chain yourself to disappointment. The world doesn't move according to your preferences. People have their reasons, weather, emotions, markets, reactions, all beyond your reach. The more you resist, the more exhausted you become. The more you try to control, the less freedom you have. When someone lets you down, instead of anger, ask, "What can I control in this situation?" When plans fall apart, instead of panic, ask, "How can I adapt?" When unfairly criticized, instead of snapping back, ask, "Does this truly hold value for me?" Not controlling others is how I free myself. All I need to do is keep my hands steady on the wheel. As life moves in its current, letting go is not weakness. It's understanding the boundary between what I can shape and what I must let pass. The Stoic doesn't try to control the world. They choose to master themselves. And that is enough. Lesson 4. The world isn't perfect, and that's okay. We often get angry, not just because of what happens, but because of what shouldn't have happened. They should have kept their promise. They should have treated me better. Things should have gone perfectly. But here's the truth. Life doesn't follow the script you wrote in your head. Begin each day by telling yourself, you will meet with ingratitude, rudeness, arrogance, dishonesty. Marcus Aurelius. Stoicism teaches us, pain doesn't come from events, it comes from your expectations about how they should go. The world isn't perfect, and it doesn't owe you perfection. Neither do other people. Everyone is struggling in ways you cannot see. Expectations are a double-edged sword. On one side, they motivate, but on the other hand, they disappoint. When someone breaks a promise, instead of blaming, remind yourself they're not perfect, and neither am I. When work doesn't go as planned, instead of exploding, ask, "What can I fix? What can I learn?" When your partner doesn't understand you, instead of pulling away, ask, "Have I communicated enough?" I don't need a perfect world to live in peace. All I need is the ability to see things as they are and accept them. When you stop expecting the world to bend to your will, you begin to live more lightly, more truthfully. The Stoic doesn't demand perfection from the world. They train themselves to stand strong within their imperfection. Lesson 5. Your emotions are your responsibility. Someone cuts in line right in front of you. No apology, no acknowledgement. You feel a surge of anger, disrespected, a flood of words rising in your mind, ready to explode. But pause. If you react, will it make things better? If you carry that anger all day, is it worth it? Stoicism asks a powerful question. What they did may be their fault, but what you feel is whose choice. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. Emotions aren't automatic. They are the result of a choice, conscious or not. You can't stop others from saying what they want, but you can decide what is worth your peace. That is the deepest freedom. No one can make you angry unless you give them that power. When someone attacks you with harsh words, instead of lashing out, ask, "Do they deserve control over how I feel?" When you're misunderstood or misjudged, instead of reacting, remember, my worth doesn't live in their opinion. When rejected or hurt, instead of shutting down, whisper to yourself, I am still in charge of my own emotions. Events are objective. Emotions are your subjective response, and your response is something you can train every day. No one can control your mood unless you allow it. The Stoic doesn't live cold or distant. They simply don't let emotions rule over reason. And they understand this truth. Your emotions are inner property. No one else has the right to own them, but you. Lesson 6. Silence. The power of self-mastery. When we're attacked, the instinct is to strike back. A sharp comment wounds your pride, and you fire back to defend your honor. A disrespectful gesture, and you feel the urge to prove you won't be disrespected. But the Stoic chooses the opposite. They choose silence. If someone does wrong, the harm is theirs, not yours. Stay silent and sovereign. Marcus Aurelius. Silence is not weakness. Silence is refusing to let others control your emotions. It's the decision not to lower yourself to a petty game of tit for tat. Because the easier you are to provoke, the easier you are to control. When your boss criticizes you in front of others, instead of reacting, stay silent and respond later with reason, not emotion. When a friend speaks harsh words, instead of striking back, stay calm and leave those words with them. Don't carry them with you. When provoked on social media, instead of debating, remind yourself, my silence is my power. Reaction is instinct. Silence is wisdom. Not reacting doesn't mean you agree. It means you refuse to let emotions take the lead. Timely silence is the sign of someone who's in control of themselves, because not everyone deserves your response, and not every word deserves your reaction. The Stoic stays silent, not out of fear, but because they have nothing to prove. Lesson 7. Compassion, the ultimate freedom of the mind. In a world where everyone rushes to defend their ego, the one who chooses compassion is often the strongest. Because to forgive, to help, to show kindness is not a gift to others, it's a liberation for yourself. Visual, a statue with open arms, light shining from behind. Then, a droplet falling into still water, ripples spreading gently. When you do good, do not expect reward. When you forgive, do not expect apology. Epictetus. When you hold on to resentment, you carry a fire that burns only you. When you refuse to forgive, you trap yourself in the past. Stoicism doesn't ask you to love everyone. It simply reminds you, you can choose not to be bound by bitterness. When someone hurts you and never apologizes, you can still forgive. Not because they deserve peace, but because you do. When someone breaks your trust, you don't need revenge, just the strength to move on, without carrying hatred. When you help someone and go unrecognized, tell yourself, a good deed is still good, even without applause. I don't live to collect emotional debts from others. I live to protect the clarity and peace within myself. Forgiveness is the highest form of inner strength. The Stoic doesn't seek validation. They seek freedom from letting others dictate their emotions, actions, or hearts. And sometimes, forgiveness is how you finally step out of the cycle of pain, even if no one steps out with you. These 7 Stoic secrets, from owning your reactions to letting go, are your armor against anger, your shield against chaos. Stoicism isn't about ignoring life's mess. It's about rising above it with a calm, clear mind. Here's your challenge. Tonight, take 5 minutes. Sit alone, reflect on one moment today that stirred you. Write, what happened? How did I react? What would Marcus Aurelius do? This simple Stoic practice builds the habit of peace. If this spoke to you, share it with someone who needs it. A friend, a colleague, anyone craving calm. Subscribe for more, and until next time, stay steady, stay stoic, take care, and keep growing.